The alien princess floated above her starship's command deck, her eyes scanning the vast blackness of space. Stars stretched endlessly, tiny points of light in the cold dark. Ships of her people moved like a glittering swarm around her, each one a perfect machine of war and diplomacy. She had been trained to notice everything, the smallest flicker of energy, the slightest hesitation in a pilot's movement. But today, her attention was caught by something unusual. A small human ship appeared on the edge of the sector. It was not impressive at first glance. Its hull was simple, its weapons were minimal, and the technology looked old-fashioned compared to the advanced alien fleets that surrounded her. Yet the ship moved differently. It moved with purpose, as if it didn't care who or what waited for it. The princess leaned forward, curiosity stirring. "It cannot be," she whispered to herself. Humans were supposed to be weak, insignificant, barely able to navigate one planet's orbit, let alone challenge an entire fleet. And yet, here one was, gliding straight into a zone controlled by several of the galaxy's most feared fleets. The ship's captain, he was visible through the view screen, a small human with short hair and a strong, confident posture, turned his head and smiled. It was a grin, simple, almost casual, but it carried something impossible. Charm. Fearlessness. A sense of daring that no alien had ever possessed. The princess's fingers clenched the edge of the command rail. She had never felt curiosity like this. Never interest. Humans were supposed to be unremarkable, and yet she could not look away. Her advisors tried to warn her. "Princess, he is alone. We could destroy him easily," one said, his voice trembling. "Do not waste attention on this human, he is irrelevant." But the princess shook her head. "I want to watch," she said softly. "There is something about him. I do not understand it, but I must see it myself." The human ship moved closer. Alien sensors attempted to scan it, but the readings were strange. Systems were unconventional. Maneuvers were unpredictable. Every calculation the aliens made assumed the human would follow normal patterns. And every time, the human did something completely different. "Impossible," muttered one of the fleet commanders. "He defies logic." The princess's lips curled into a small smile. Impossible. That was exactly the word. She had heard the legends of humans before, stories told of courage, recklessness, and creativity that seemed absurd, but she had never believed them. Not until now. On the human ship, the captain tapped controls with ease, twisting and turning his craft through asteroid fields, dodging patrols that should have trapped him. Every movement was precise, yet almost careless. It was as if he knew the aliens would never expect such boldness, and he used that knowledge like a weapon. The princess leaned closer to the screen. She had seen fleets fail. She had seen generals outsmarted, but she had never seen a single pilot, a single human, challenge so many without fear. And he smiled all the while. His lips curved in that same impossible grin, as if daring the galaxy to try and stop him. Her curiosity grew into fascination. "Who is he?" she whispered. "What makes him so alive?" Her advisors exchanged nervous glances. "Princess, he is a human. One human is not important. He cannot possibly succeed against the numbers we control." But the princess ignored them. Numbers meant nothing here. She could feel it in the way he moved, the way he faced danger without hesitation, the way he smiled while every alien tactic failed. Humans were supposed to be clever, yes, but this was beyond clever. This was extraordinary. The human ship suddenly appeared directly in front of a fleet blockade. The aliens expected him to retreat, to hide, to surrender. But he did neither. He tilted his ship slightly, winked at the sensors, and passed through a narrow gap between two warships. Energy beams passed dangerously close, missing him by fractions of a second. The command deck erupted in alarms. "He cannot do that," shouted a commander. "He will be destroyed." And yet, the human smiled. Lips curved, Grin wide, eyes full. Of confidence, it was impossible. The princess felt a strange thrill as she watched. There was joy in danger, courage in impossible situations, and a strange, undeniable charm that drew attention, even from her, a royal trained to judge and rule. She stepped back, breathing slightly faster than usual. He is not like any other human, she admitted to herself. He is different, bold, fearless, irresistible somehow. Her advisors murmured in confusion. Princess, focus. This is unusual behavior for a human. We must act. She shook her head again, almost laughing. No, I will not look away. I must see what he does next. He is fascinating. The human ship continued its path, weaving through enemy ships, dodging lasers, and moving as if space itself obeyed him. Every time the aliens adjusted, he changed. Every attempt to trap him failed. And always, that grin, that impossible, casual, fearless grin that made the galaxy seem foolish for thinking humans could be contained or underestimated. The princess felt something she had never felt before, a mix of admiration, curiosity, and a strange sense of excitement. She could not explain it, but she knew one thing. This human was remarkable, and she wanted to see more. She wanted to understand him. As the human ship disappeared into the distance, slipping past the fleet with ease, the princess stood silently. Her heart beat faster than usual. The galaxy had been certain humans were insignificant. She had been certain. And now, she knew she had been wrong. The impossible had appeared, before her eyes, wrapped in a grin that could challenge entire fleets, and the princess could not forget it. Not for a moment. The human ship had disappeared from view, but the princess could not stop thinking about him. Every time her fleet ran a simulation of what the human had done, the numbers did not add up. Every tactic the aliens tried should have trapped him. Every calculation predicted his destruction. And yet he had escaped, effortlessly, as if space itself bent to his will. She stood at the observation window, arms crossed, her eyes following blinking stars far away. How can one human be so impossible? She whispered. Her voice trembled, slightly, though she did not want anyone to notice. Humans were supposed to be clever, yes, but boldness like this, daring like this, no alien pilot had ever dared it. Her chief advisor, an elder with thin green skin and long, delicate fingers, approached carefully. Princess, you must remember, this is a single human. He cannot change the balance of power. He is not a threat, nor a hero. The princess shook her head, almost laughing softly. No, you do not understand. It is not just his skill, it is his presence, his confidence, the way he faces impossible odds without hesitation. He smiles while the galaxy trembles. The elder frowned. A smile? That is trivial? Trivial? The princess echoed, raising one eyebrow. Trivial? It is not trivial. It is irresistible, and it makes the galaxy regret underestimating him. Meanwhile, the human captain floated in his ship, far from the princess's view. He had faced several patrols since the encounter, each expecting an easy capture. Yet each time he moved differently, unpredictable, creative, fearless. And always his grin stayed wide, unshakable. In the distant alien command center, the princess watched as her fleet attempted to analyze his patterns. Algorithms failed. Ships collided trying to mimic his unpredictable maneuvers. Admirals whispered nervously. He cannot be human, one muttered. The princess smiled quietly to herself. That was the point. He was human. And humans had a way of being beyond expectation. He did not follow rules, he did not follow fear. He followed audacity, and that was enough. She tapped her fingers on the railing and thought about what the human had done. Passing through the blockade had been bold, yes. Clever, yes. But more than that, it had been enjoyable. Watching him, seeing him grin while he defied the galaxy, brought her an unfamiliar thrill. She wanted to understand him, to see what drove this impossible courage. Her curiosity became obsession. She instructed her ship to follow, to maintain a distant observation, careful not to reveal her presence. Every move the human made fascinated her. Every laugh, every daring twist, every clever maneuver drew her in. In a nearby asteroid belt, the human found himself in a dangerous situation. A rogue squadron of alien fighters had tried to trap him, using a familiar tactic that had ended the careers of countless pilots. The human did not panic. He tilted his ship slightly, using the gravity of a small asteroid to swing past them. Lasers passed dangerously close, yet he moved as if he had practiced it 1,000 times, though he had not. The princess watched, breathless. "He is fearless," she said, "and clever beyond measure. No alien could have survived this." She leaned closer to the screen. "And still," he smiles. Back on the human ship, the captain sent a short message to the rogue squadron. "Better luck next time." His lips curled in that same wide, impossible grin. The aliens stared in shock, unsure whether to fire or retreat. The human's audacity alone unsettled them. The princess could not hide her fascination any longer. "I must speak with him," she whispered. "I must see why he is like this. What makes him so alive?" Her advisors exchanged nervous glances. "Princess, you cannot simply approach him," one said. "Humans are unpredictable. You risk danger." She shook her head. "I know exactly what I risk. And yet," she paused, taking a deep breath, "I cannot ignore him. Not now, not ever. He has something no alien can replicate." The human's next move stunned even the princess. The princess's starship followed the human at a careful distance. She kept the engines quiet, sensors subtle, and every movement precise. She wanted to observe him without being noticed, but her fascination grew with every passing moment. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and bold, but this one was extraordinary. The human's ship finally entered a small, neutral docking station on the edge of a star system. Aliens of different species moved about, negotiating trade, arranging alliances, and watching each other warily. The human stepped out of his ship with that familiar grin, relaxed and confident. He seemed completely at ease in a place that made even seasoned alien diplomats nervous. The princess adjusted her position to get a better view. She noted every detail, how he carried himself, the way his lips curled into that impossible smile, the casual tilt of his head as he scanned the area. Even his voice, though she could not hear it clearly, seemed to carry calm authority and a hint of teasing charm. Her advisors hovered near her, whispering nervously, "Princess, humans are unpredictable. They may seem harmless, but..." "What?" she interrupted, not taking her eyes off him. "I have seen what he can do. One human, alone, dodging an entire fleet, and he smiles while doing it. Do you not see? He is unlike anything the galaxy has ever known." The advisors hesitated. None of them could deny it. They had run simulations, analyzed patterns, and still, the human remained unpredictable, untouchable, unstoppable. The princess's words were the only explanation that seemed real. Humans were something new, something extraordinary. Inside the docking station, the human approached a group of alien negotiators. They glanced at him, curious but wary, expecting him to follow the strict protocols of diplomacy. But he did not. He leaned casually against a railing, tilted his head, and spoke with a confidence that was almost insolent, but polite. The princess felt a thrill run through her. She had seen alien diplomats for decades, and none could hold a room like this human. He asked questions no one had thought to ask, pointing out contradictions and overlooked details. He smiled the entire time, a grin that made the elders and ambassadors squirm. From her hidden vantage point, the princess whispered to herself, "He is clever, yes, but more than that. He is alive, full of life and audacity." She could not look away. Every move, every word, every smile drew her in further. One of the negotiators tried to challenge him, a stern alien with scales covering his face and sharp eyes. "You cannot speak this way," he said. "This is our chamber, our rules." The human tilted his head, grin widening. "Rules?" he said softly, almost amused. "I am not breaking them, I am just pointing out facts. Perhaps they are inconvenient, but still true." The alien paused, unsure whether to be angry or impressed. The princess's heart raced. Even from afar, she could feel the energy he carried, the audacity, the charm, the impossible confidence. She had never seen anyone move a room like this, never seen anyone disarm so many without fighting. Minutes passed. Every question, every observation the human made seemed to unsettle the alien negotiators. Whispers ran through the chamber. "He cannot be human," one ambassador murmured. "No human could have such skill, such presence." The princess smiled quietly. That was exactly it. Humans were underestimated, and yet, here was proof of why they should never be underestimated. One human had done what fleets, generals, and armies could not, and he did it with a grin, calm and impossible. Suddenly, the human turned and looked directly at a point in the shadows of the docking station. His eyes narrowed slightly, and a small smirk formed on his lips. The princess's breath caught in her throat. Had he seen her? She froze, unsure whether to remain hidden or reveal herself. To her surprise, he smiled directly at her hiding spot. Not a threatening smile, but a teasing, inviting one. Something about it made her pulse quicken. She realized that even in a crowd, even unseen, humans could notice details others missed. And he had noticed her. Her fingers curled around the edge of the observation window. "Impossible," she whispered. "Again. He sees me. From here. And he smiles. At me." The word felt inadequate. There was no other way to describe it. He was human. And yet he carried a presence no alien or even she could resist. The human turned back to the negotiators, still grinning, and continued his conversation. Every word, every gesture, seemed effortless. The aliens tried to match him, to regain control, but they could not. Their careful protocols, their endless rules, their simulations, none of it mattered. He was beyond all of it. The princess felt something stir inside her, something she had never admitted. Curiosity, yes, but also admiration, fascination, perhaps even the beginning of something more. She shook her head, trying to remain composed. I cannot let myself feel this," she muttered. "He is human. Yet, I am drawn to him." Hours passed. The human finally prepared to leave the neutral zone, finishing his negotiations with ease. He stepped back onto his ship, turned slightly, and gave the faintest wink toward her direction. That small gesture made her chest tighten. She could not explain why. It should not matter. And yet, it did. The princess made her decision. She would not simply observe anymore. She would approach him, carefully, discreetly. She wanted to know why he was like this, why he moved with impossible confidence, why the galaxy feared and admired him at the same time, and why above all his grin seemed to make everything else fade away. Her starship silently powered up, engines quiet, shields minimal to remain unseen. She would follow him beyond the neutral zone, beyond the charts, beyond the rules of diplomacy, and fear. She wanted to understand him, to see his courage, his skill, his charm, and that grin, the grin that made the galaxy regret ever underestimating humans. The human captain, unaware of the princess's plans, plotted a new course through the stars. He faced new challenges, new patrols, new dangers, and always, he smiled. His lips curled into that impossible grin, daring the galaxy to try and contain him. The princess watched, heart pounding, knowing she was witnessing history, not of fleets, not of battles, but of a human. One human who carried the impossible, in every move, in every word, in every smile. And she was determined to learn more. The human ship glided smoothly through the empty stretch of space beyond the neutral zone. Stars passed by like scattered diamonds, and asteroid fields loomed silently, waiting to challenge anyone who moved carelessly. The princess's starship stayed hidden behind a cluster of debris, her sensors tracking the human with precision. She had decided to follow him quietly to understand what made him different. The human paused near a small planet, scanning the area with ease. He tapped a few controls and his ship hummed softly, shifting its path to avoid a patrol of alien drones. He moved with the same effortless confidence she had seen before, and always, that grin. The grin that made the galaxy underestimate him. The grin that had drawn her in completely. The princess leaned over the observation panel. "He is fearless," she whispered. "And clever. Beyond clever. I cannot look away." Her advisors hovered near her, whispering warnings, but she did not listen. Every move he made fascinated her, every tilt of his head, every slight smile, every daring maneuver. She wanted to know how he thought, how he worked, how he lived with such impossible confidence. Suddenly, alarms blared across both ships. A rogue armada, previously uncharted, had appeared on sensors. Hundreds of alien warships, all sleek, fast, and heavily armed, were closing in. Their mission was clear: capture or destroy anything in this sector that did not belong. The princess's pulse quickened. "He cannot handle them alone," she murmured. "Yet he will. I know he will." The human glanced at the radar, then smiled that same wide, teasing grin. "Looks like the party's starting," he said softly, almost to himself. His fingers danced over the controls. With a tilt and a sudden burst of speed, he avoided the first wave of energy blasts. His ship twisted through asteroid debris, the enemies following him clumsily, unable to predict his movement. The princess could hardly believe her eyes. "Impossible," she breathed. "Every maneuver. He defies everything we know." Her pulse raced as she watched him move. His confidence was intoxicating, his skill was unmatched, and that grin, it was impossible to ignore. As the armada closed in, the princess made a decision. She activated her ship's comm, carefully encrypted to avoid detection, and sent a single message. "Do you need assistance?" The human's grin widened, though she could not see him in person. "Ah, an ally appears," he replied calmly. "I could use a hand. Let's make this fun." She felt a thrill. The human had acknowledged her without seeing her fully, and he had trusted her. Humans rarely expected help. They thrived on independence. Yet here he was, willing to include her in something dangerous, something bold, something impossible. The princess maneuvered her ship into formation with his, keeping a safe distance but ready to act. Together they moved with a precision that confused the alien armada. Humans and aliens of different species were not supposed to coordinate so perfectly, and yet somehow they did. The human led the way, weaving, dodging, striking where the enemies were weakest, and she followed seamlessly, learning his rhythm almost instinctively. The alien commanders grew frustrated. How can one human evade hundreds of our ships?" one shouted. "And what is that green ship doing? How does it move in sync?" The princess stayed silent, her eyes on the human's movements. She noticed patterns others could not: the subtle pauses, the calculated risks, the playful timing of each maneuver. And she realized something astonishing. Humans thrived on unpredictability, on audacity, on daring that aliens could not calculate. The human smiled at her ship briefly. "Keep up, princess," he said with a wink over comms. "It's going to get tricky." She felt a shiver run through her. He had called her by title, acknowledged her presence, and included her in his plan. And still that grin, the impossible, teasing grin, made her chest tighten. She followed, trusting him completely, even though the odds were against them. The battle intensified. Energy beams streaked through the void, explosions lit up the darkness, and ships collided with dangerous force. The human moved effortlessly, dodging, attacking, and outthinking the armada. Every move was bold, every decision clever, every risk calculated yet daring. The princess realized she had never felt this alive in her life. She had faced battles before, led fleets, and made decisions that determined the fate of worlds. But nothing compared to this. Nothing compared to following a human who smiled while defying the impossible. A human who made the galaxy regret ever underestimating his kind. Minutes passed like hours. Slowly, the alien armada began to falter. They had expected an easy victory. They had expected fear, hesitation, surrender. Instead, they faced audacity, cleverness, and confidence they could not predict. And always, a Grin. One human, leading them to triumph in ways no alien strategy had considered. Finally, the rogue fleet retreated, leaving a trail of damaged ships and bewildered commanders. The human's ship floated calmly in the void, engines humming softly, lights blinking steadily. He turned slightly toward her ship and gave that wide, teasing grin once again. The princess felt a strange warmth in her chest. He is extraordinary, she whispered. Fearless, clever, and impossible. And yet he smiles as if it's all just a game. She realized something important. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were innovators, audacious, charming, and unstoppable in ways the galaxy could not anticipate. And one human, this human, had just proven it beyond doubt. The human spoke over comms one last time, casual and teasing. Not bad for a team-up, huh? We make a pretty good pair. The princess's heart raced. Yes, she said softly. We do. Perhaps we do. For the first time, she felt a connection that had nothing to do with duty, politics, or strategy. It was admiration, fascination, and something deeper. She had witnessed impossible courage, impossible skill, and an impossible grin. And now, she knew she could not turn away. She would follow him further, learn from him, and perhaps stand beside him. The stars stretched endlessly around them, but in that moment, the galaxy seemed smaller, filled with the possibilities of one human and one princess, daring, clever, and impossible together. The warning alarms blared across the princess's ship as they entered the outer edge of the sector. A massive fleet had appeared, far larger than anything she or the human had faced before. Hundreds of alien warships filled the void, engines glowing like stars, weapons primed to strike. Their orders were clear: destroy the human and anyone allied with him. The princess's heart pounded, but she did not hesitate. She had seen his skill, his audacity, and his impossible grin, and she had decided to trust him completely. We follow him, she said firmly, gripping the railing. He knows what he is doing. The human captain's voice came over comms, calm, teasing, and full of confidence. Ready for some fun? Keep close and follow my lead. It's going to be tricky, but we can make it. His lips curled into that impossible grin. The princess felt a thrill run through her. She had faced battles, led fleets, and commanded worlds. But nothing like this. Nothing like fighting beside a human who smiled while facing impossible odds. The enemy fleet advanced, forming a crescent that should have trapped them completely. Their firepower was overwhelming, their numbers daunting. Most alien commanders expected victory before the first shot was fired. But humans were different. This human was different. The captain's ship darted forward, weaving through energy blasts with ease. He moved unpredictably, using asteroids, debris, and even the gravitational pull of nearby stars to twist past the enemy. Every maneuver was daring, clever, and seemingly impossible. And always that grin. The princess adjusted her ship, following his movements as closely as she could. She watched amazed as he led her through attacks that no simulation had predicted. Her pulse raced. She realized that humans thrived on audacity, on daring, and on thinking in ways no alien could. The enemy commanders shouted, frustrated. How can one human evade hundreds of our ships? One cried. And why does that green ship follow him so perfectly? The princess's fingers tightened on the controls. She felt a mix of fear and excitement, but she trusted him completely. He was teaching her a lesson she had never learned before. Courage and creativity could surpass numbers, and a single human could change the course of a battle with wit and daring alone. The human suddenly split his ship in a daring maneuver, moving between two massive cruisers as if space itself had folded for him. He fired precise blasts at their weak points, disabling weapons without risking a single crew member unnecessarily. The alien fleet reeled in shock. Their simulations, their calculations, their strategies, all useless against one human's creativity. The princess followed him closely, matching his maneuvers almost instinctively. She felt a strange thrill, a rush of admiration and excitement. Humans were extraordinary, and this human in particular was beyond extraordinary. Every twist, every daring decision, every calculated risk. He showed her why the galaxy had always underestimated his kind. The battle continued for hours. Ships collided, energy beams flared, and explosions lit up the darkness. Yet the human and the princess moved as if in perfect rhythm. He smiled at her ship over comms, teasing her lightly, and she found herself responding in kind. That grin, impossible, fearless, irresistible, was contagious. The battle had ended, but the galaxy still trembled. Word of one human facing hundreds of alien ships, outsmarting them and surviving with impossible confidence, spread faster than any fleet could travel. Reports called him reckless, clever, audacious, and some whispered the word no one dared to speak aloud: legendary. The princess watched the human from her ship, just outside the system, her pulse calm yet racing at the memory of the battle. He had done what no alien fleet expected, what no simulation predicted, what no galaxy could believe. And he had done it with a grin that now burned in her mind, teasing, fearless, and impossible to forget. She powered down her stealth systems and sent a careful signal. It was simple, clear, and friendly. "Meet me. I wish to speak with you." The human's reply came almost immediately, casual, calm, with that familiar teasing tone. "I was hoping you'd ask. Let's meet." She guided her ship to a quiet rendezvous point, a small moon orbiting a peaceful gas giant. The human's craft landed first, engines soft against the surface. She followed, landing nearby, keeping her presence modest yet deliberate. When she stepped out, he was already waiting, leaning against his ship, grin wide and impossible as ever. "Princess," he said simply, nodding, voice calm, casual. "I've heard about you, and I have to say, you followed me into danger. That's impressive." The princess's lips curved into a soft smile. "I had to," she said. "I needed to see. I needed to understand. You, humans are remarkable. And you, your courage, your skill, your grin, are extraordinary." The human tilted his head, studying her with interest, and then his grin widened. "Extraordinary, huh? That's quite a word for one princess. I like it." He straightened slightly, a playful glint in his eyes. "I've faced impossible odds before, but I've never had someone follow me into the storm with this fascination. It's new and nice." The princess felt warmth rise in her chest. It was the first time she admitted it aloud. Her admiration, her fascination, even her respect for this human who had made the galaxy regret underestimating his kind. She had seen him defeat fleets, defy logic, and smile through danger. And now she realized that what made him extraordinary was not just skill or courage. It was his presence, his charm, his impossible grin. The human stepped closer, casual, yet deliberate, as if measuring her reaction. "I take it you're not just here to watch," he said lightly. "You want to know the human secret, don't you?" The princess's eyes widened slightly. "I want to understand why you are like this. Why humans can be fearless, clever, audacious. Why you can make the galaxy regret its assumptions. And why your grin is impossible to resist." He chuckled, a low, warm sound that seemed to echo across the moon's surface. "It's simple, really. We take risks. We face the impossible. We make choices no one expects. And we have fun while doing it." The grin, That's just the part that keeps things interesting. The princess studied him closely. She could see the truth in his words, the audacity, the cleverness, the charm, and she realized that humans were not just skilled, they were unpredictable, alive, and dangerous in ways no alien could calculate. This one human had proven it beyond doubt. She stepped closer, her voice quiet but firm. Then teach me. Teach me how you think. Show me how humans can defy the galaxy, and why one human can make the impossible happen. The human's grin widened impossibly. Gladly, he said. But fair warning, humans don't just teach, they challenge. You'll need courage, wits, and maybe a little reckless charm. Think you can handle that? She smiled, heart racing, confidence building. I have faced fleets before, she said, but I have never faced someone like you. I am ready. He laughed softly, the sound carrying warmth, humor, and mischief. Then let's start. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Time to make them regret it. Properly. They spent hours talking, planning, and sharing ideas. The princess learned how humans thought, how they used daring, unpredictability, and charm to succeed against impossible odds. She realized that courage was not just about power. It was about audacity, creativity, and confidence. And the grin? That grin was a weapon, a challenge, and a spark that could turn fear into hesitation. As the twin suns began to set over the gas giant, the princess stepped back, smiling softly. You are unlike anything I have ever known. I cannot look away. Not from you. Not from humans. Not from what you can do. The human tilted his head, grin still wide. Good, he said simply. Because we've only just begun. The galaxy will remember today, princess. And maybe it will remember us too. The princess felt her heart race. She had followed him into impossible odds, fought alongside him, and witnessed courage and audacity she had never imagined. She knew now that humans were extraordinary, and one human, this human, had changed everything. He stepped closer, lips curling into the same impossible grin that had begun it all. Ready to make the galaxy regret underestimating humans? He asked, voice calm, teasing, fearless. The princess met his gaze, feeling certainty for the first time. Yes, she said, we are ready. And together, human and princess, they turned their eyes to the stars. The galaxy had seen impossible courage, audacity, and skill, and it would never underestimate humans again. And for the princess, human's grin had made her heart race, her spirit soar, and the entire universe feel alive with possibilities. The human's grin remained, teasing, fearless, and impossible, and the galaxy would regret ever doubting the audacity of humans.